I'm so happy to have you back for season 3.
Season 3, congratulations.
Can you believe it?
And it feels like, I feel like you've obviously been a part of our musical lives for many years, but it feels like you've also been a part of our television lives for longer than 3 years. I feel like you've been infused in our lives for longer than that. Only 3 years. It's incredible what the show has accomplished.
Thank you. So it's because of guests like you.
Well, been here since 1.
Wow, thank you for that, and thank you for coming back again.
Always.
Let's get into you and all your fabulousness. You were on Broadway.
I was.
The last time.
Last time I saw you, I was about. Yeah, I was.
Look at this. Congrats.
Thank you. I was about to embark on a dream run of Sweeney Todd, which is a show that, for those of us that, very dark. I'm a very lighthearted person, so taking on the role of a murderer was one that is better than therapy. Let me tell you, like doing that, like going out there and singing Sondheim's just absolutely one of his most magnificent scores every night. The hardest I ever worked, but the greatest community in the world.
That is true.
The Broadway theater community, they are the hardest working, the most incredible. And so, yeah, I mean, I was just covered in fake blood every day and just, but having toured my whole life almost, having a place to go every single day where I knew where I was inviting people to our theater and our house every day. I loved the discipline of it, the routine of it, and of course the music of it. It made me so happy. But now I'm on the other side of it, and it's glad to be back on the West Coast.
You are. You did well, too.
Did it for a year. Yeah.
A whole year.
Yeah, I did 300 shows. That's stamina.
You're so modest because he was also nominated for a Tony.
I was nominated for a
Tony. And a Grammy.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. It's a huge honor to be in that company.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I said. I mean, these are some of the most talented people I've ever had the pleasure of being around, and I learn and I grow from being around them. I always try to find things in my life and in my career that continue to scare me.
Yes.
And certainly, whenever you do theater, that is just there's nothing to hide behind, and it is. As you know, you grow a lot. So yeah, I was happy to be part of it.
Spoken like a true actor, that is for sure. I understand. I can relate to that.
Yeah, I know you can.
And you spent a lot of time in New York while doing this, right?
I did. Yeah, I was there for the whole year, and I've been there off and on for like the last 15 or 16 years. And I love New York. I'm from LA. I mean, this is home for me. But I always come back home. But New York has such an incredible energy. I go out the door, I turn left, I turn right, and there's always something to enrich your day. There's always somebody that you talk to, always something creative, something good to eat. It's just there's life all around you. In LA, you got to get in your car and sit in traffic and find the things.
That's the difference,
which I also love to do. It's nice to just zone out and listen to NPR and you do your thing. But
what was the most New York thing that happened to you while you were in New York?
Well, New York, I always think of, because in LA, like I said, you're driving a lot. You're not having a lot of conversations with strangers in LA. In New York, you're constantly talking to people. You're bumping into people. I take the train a lot in New York. I sat next to somebody on the train who told me, excuse me, I don't want to bother you, but I'm a cardiac anesthesiologist, and your music really helps put my patients to sleep when I'm about to perform open heart surgery. And I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. Right. What are you saying?
Well, I mean, it's great. I'm happy that I'm very calming. I hope I'm not the last thing they hear ever. But then I started talking to her, like, what's it like working in the hospital, doing that kind of work? And she would tell me about the kind of procedures that she's doing. And then, it's like, well, this is my stop. Okay, well, thank you for your great work, doctor. And and thanks for tell your patients thank you. And then you move on.
Then you move on.
Yeah, but that to me is New York for me. Yeah,
that sounds like New York, because you can get a bit of everything.
You're bouncing. I had a shrink once that said, we're happiest when our souls are bouncing off of other souls.
That's a good way to look at it.
And we see perspective in our lives when we get to bounce, when we get to have that bounce. And in New York, I found that in LA, you got to go out and you got to find the bounce.
Yes.
In New York, that bounce is whether you want it or not. It is happening all around you. But it opens up your lens and it helps you see the world a little wider. And so that's my favorite thing about New York. Yeah.
I love that about you, that you're so open in that way. Now, I know you got this cute little dog named George.
Georgie.
Oh my goodness, you take him everywhere with you.
Little George, yeah. We love George. We're dancing in the kitchen.
I love it.
He's not pleased, I don't think, that's happening. But yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he waits for. I had a few glasses of wine. He waits for scraps. He's so funny. He likes vegetables.
Really?
This dog is, I think, a vegetarian at heart. He wants little carrot pieces, celery, broccoli. This is a 1-year-old dog that just can't wait to crunch on the most boring raw vegetables known to man. But you know, dogs are just the best. He makes me happy. I get to wake up to that every day. He loves socks.
He's a homebody. He loves socks and vegetables. And he's a homebody.
He's a homebody, absolutely. Like the streets of New York for him, he's like the nerdy kid in school with the tape on his glasses. Like he's got the pocket protector. He's special. Yeah.
I love it.
But
and his name is George.
Oh,
George. Okay. I love George. I got a cute little clip of George that I want to share with y'all. Look at this.
George loves Dad's mouth trumpet.
Oh, yes.
I love it. Is he a little musician?
Apparently. Who among us has not done the mouth trumpet for their dog every now and then? When he was little, I used to, and he was like, oh man. He would become possessed and he would just start kissing me like crazy when I would do the mouth trumpet.
Oh.
He does like music. He loves reggae. We listen to reggae at the house.
Is that his favorite genre of music?
I think reggae is his favorite style of music. It's one of mine too, but I put it on in the house a lot, and he just, yeah, he loves it. Like his little tail, his little butt wiggles, his like little tail goes, and I haven't brought him to the studio yet.
Okay.
So I'll test his love of music when I start making new music.
Well, bring him by to see us.
And I'll
we
bring
would
him by
love
to
see him
the
because I love them animals. You love giving back to students. Can you tell us about your foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm here because I'm a product of a great arts education in my life. I was lost inside myself in school. I was really shy. My grades weren't great. It was a choir teacher that pulled me out of the back and said, hey, I want to give you an opportunity to share your voice. I wouldn't have done it because I was too shy, but it was that moment that made me realize that there was actually a voice in me that I wasn't using to express myself, to discover who I was. And even if I didn't go into the music business professionally, I would have looked to that moment as the moment where I felt fully like myself. Yes. And so my foundation, Find Your Light, we're making sure that places that need them all across the country have access, students have access to those same kind of aha artistic moments, because we've learned that it's a tool that can help young students access themselves at a very divisive time, especially now, and needs it more than ever. So so we're doing a big gala concert this year. We're raising a lot of money.
I love that so much. Like you spoke on the arts and in schools, it makes all the difference. So anything we could do to support the kids so they can find their artistry or have a safe place to be able to go to and find themselves.
My favorite thing, we talk about people talking to me in the street. My favorite thing is when people come up to me who aren't in the arts. They're lawyers, they're doctors, they're whatever else, and they'll say to me, man, it was my arts teacher. It was that moment where I had a paintbrush, I had a singing teacher, I had something where I felt like myself for the first time in my whole life, and then it gave me the foundation to go off and do whatever else I wanted to do. And it's the first thing to get cut in every school. It's the first thing to get cut. People think of it, they think of it as an extracurricular, it's a silly thing, and the math is showing that it's actually helping graduation. It's helping home life, it's helping students become better leaders in their communities. So we're doing all we can at Find Your Light to make sure that anytime a program reaches out to say, hey, we need this funding to make sure that this teacher stays, this program stays, these kids get to use that voice, that we can say yes to that. So we're having a great time at Find Your Light, being able to say yes as often as we can to those programs.
Thank you so much for that. It is so necessary. I was one of those kids, a product of those things, you know, the arts. So I'm all for it. Now, speaking of the arts and music, are you working on a new album?
I am working on new music,
Oh my goodness.
I am working on new music. You know, I was doing some writing while I was doing Sweeney Todd. You get a lot of time in your dressing room to kind of write, so there's a lot of songs that are kind of half finished and fully demoed and all that. And I think I'm probably going to like release at some point in the next year kind of like a best of, like a retrospective of things that I've done, and release a few new songs with that as well, and continue to get in the studio to work on new stuff, because there's a lot to say, and a lot of people I'm enjoying collaborating with. And it's a great time. There are no rules right now in music.
That is true.
There are so many different styles and cross-pollinations, and so I'm excited.
We're excited. Now, I know you're an amazing performer and singer and all of those things, but I hear you want to get your pilot license?
I have been working.
Really?
Anybody who has seen my interviews?
I can see that for you.
You know, it's like a left brain, right brain thing. Like I've got an organized mess going on up here, and when you're flying an airplane, you don't want to have any kind of mess.
No, we don't. Okay.
So I was working getting my pilot's license, and then COVID hit, and it's like I had to take a break from that. And so, you know, at some point, I think I'll get back into it, but I'm not sure that anybody would fly with me. So it's a lonely thing, just flying yourself, and I'm a great passenger. So we'll see if I continue to do that. My mom is like, just stay on the ground. Let's
stay on the ground.
Yeah, my mom. So you know, we'll see. But yeah, no, there's so many, you know, so many great pilots out there, and
yeah, but they don't sing like you do, Josh. I think if you sang to your passengers, we would fly with them, right?
Put some reverb on the intercom.
Could you imagine? Welcome to your flight. Your voice singing it. Listen, I'm pitching you, and I think that would be.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff.
Do you see this? This would be.
Buckle your seatbelts. Yeah, to nobody, because again. Only George will be sitting next to me on that flight, and he'll just be doing the little kind of West Island Terrier like head tilt. Yeah, maybe one day. We'll see.
Well, I hope so, and hopefully you'll bring George to see us next time.
I will.
Tell George to say hi.
Definitely bring George.
Thank you for being here.
Of course, always a pleasure.